Hunter S. Thompson and the Hells Angels. Part 2, Riding with the Outlaws, opening with chaotic footage, roaring Harleys, desert highways, fires at night, flashing police sirens. Hunter S. Thompson. In Part 1, I told you how I fell into the vortex of the Hells Angels, outlaws on Harleys, predators on the highway. But the question still lingers. Why in God's name was I there? What was I chasing? Well, pull up a chair because this is Part 2, the bloody details of how I rode with America's most feared motorcycle gang and what I saw when the masks came off. Section 1, The Assignment. Clips of old magazines, typewriters, headlines about biker violence. In the beginning, it was just a job. I'd pitched an article to The Nation magazine, a clean, respectable left-wing rag. The idea was simple. Who are these men in black leather, and why is America so terrified of them? The press had painted the Angels as devils on wheels, gang rapists, marauders, demons tearing through small towns. But I knew better than to trust the official story. The truth, I suspected, was far stranger and far uglier. So I told the editors, I'll live with them, I'll eat with them, drink with them, ride with them. No half measures, no interviews in cafes, total immersion. That's the only way to know the beast. They gave me the green light, and I sold my soul to gasoline and madness. Section 2, Entering the Den. Footage of bikers in bars, pool halls, parking lots thick with smoke. Getting in wasn't easy. The Angels didn't like journalists. They didn't like anyone. To them, the press was the enemy, the straight world in ink and paper. But I had one advantage. I looked like hell. Long hair, ragged clothes, eyes like a raccoon. To the Angels, I wasn't a cop, and that was enough. They let me hang around like some mangy dog sniffing scraps. The first weeks were probationary. They sized me up, tested me. Could I drink without puking? Could I take a punch? Could I sit still when the fists flew and not run for the door? That was the only credential that mattered. Not courage, not intelligence, just endurance. And by some miracle of bourbon and bull-headedness, I passed. Section 3, Riding with the Pack. Highway footage, a roaring pack of motorcycles moving like a single organism. Riding with the Angels was like plugging into the national nervous system with a live wire. 100 Harleys roaring down Highway 101 was not transportation, it was war. The sound hit you in the chest, like standing inside a drum. The ground trembled. Car drivers swerved in terror. Families locked their doors when they saw us coming. And that was the point. The Angels lived for the fear. The rides weren't organized parades. They were stampedes, chaos on two wheels. You never knew if you were going to end up at a bar, a fight, or a jail cell. Sometimes we'd roar into a small town, drink it dry, then roar out again, leaving the locals in shock. Other times, it was just about the ride itself. Miles of asphalt under the California sun, bugs in your teeth, and a head full of thunder. I rode on the back of Harleys, clinging like a parasite, ears ringing from the engine. I rode shotgun in pickup trucks stacked with beer, following the swarm. I saw the Angels at their most free on the highway and at their most savage when the bikes stopped. Section 4, Campfires and Chaos. Clips of fires at night, bottles breaking, wild laughter, dogs barking in the dark. Nights with the Angels were another beast entirely. Picture a bonfire in the desert, 50 drunk bikers, a dozen women, and more booze than sense. The air stank of gasoline, weed, and cheap wine. Deals were made, fights erupted, songs slurred into the dark. It was primal, like watching cavemen invent chaos. And there I was, notebook in my pocket, ears open, eyes wide. But I didn't write much in front of them. That was suicide. I memorized the madness and scribbled it down later, in motel rooms or cheap apartments, while the bruises healed. My role was part witness, part participant. Never entirely one, never entirely the other. Section 5, What I Learned. Tone shifts to reflective, slower pacing. What I learned in those months was that the Angels weren't just criminals, they were a tribe. They had codes, hierarchies, rituals. They weren't hippies, though the hippies sometimes tried to claim them. They weren't revolutionaries, though the left-wing press wanted to make them martyrs. The Angels were something far older. Warriors without a war, men exiled from the straight world, inventing their own savage brotherhood on the margins. They craved respect, and they got it the only way they knew how, through fear. Fear was currency, violence was insurance, brotherhood was the only religion, and yet beneath the leather and the growl, I sometimes caught glimpses of humor, of loyalty, of a twisted honor that only made the whole thing more dangerous. Section 6. The Writer's Dilemma. Clips of Thompson typing, book covers, flashing back to bruises and chaos. I wasn't there to glorify them. I wasn't there to demonize them. I was there to see, and what I saw was America's subconscious on a Harley. Loud, ugly, and impossible to ignore. My job was to drag that nightmare into the daylight, pin it to the page, and show the world the strange and terrible saga of the outlaw motorcycle gangs. But that kind of truth has a price. The angels didn't want their truth exposed, and they made sure I understood that, physically, brutally. Still, the book was written, the story was told, and though they beat me bloody in the end, I walked away with something more valuable than pride. The first true taste of Gonzo journalism. No distance, no objectivity, just madness, blood, and ink. That's what I was there for. Fade to black with the sound of a lone Harley engine echoing into the distance. Hunter S Thompson and the Hells Angels, an experiment in immersion, a dance with devils, and the beginning of a new kind of journalism. If you want more strange and terrible tales from the kingdom of Gonzo, hit subscribe and join me next time. Because once you ride with the outlaws, the road is never the same again. This Part 2 script is packed with specific details of what Hunter did, pitching the nation, embedding with the gang, riding in the pack, drinking by campfires, secretly writing notes later. It keeps the Gonzo voice raw while being structured for YouTube pacing and SEO keywords. Do you want me to write you a Part 3 script next, where we dive into the violent fallout, the stomping, and how the book changed his career forever, like the climax of the saga?